One of the pastors that Serving Leaders has had the privilege to come alongside is Pastor Paul Reeder. And Paul is from the great state of South Carolina. Go Gamecocks? No, go Tigers. Go Tigers. He is a graduate of Clemson University and came up to Pennsylvania to attend Westminster Seminary. Paul and his wife Sonia have 2 kids and have served these last couple of years at Great Valley Presbyterian Church in Malvern. And Paul has had a unique experience with Serving Leaders, and I look forward to hearing just a bit of his story. So come on up, Paul. Please join me in welcoming him.
Good evening. About 7 years ago, my wife and I moved to the Philadelphia area after being called by a church to pastor a self-proclaimed dying church. The church had a number of deep-seated cultural issues, many of which the existing leadership were blind to. Early on, after moving up, I met Dave at a ministry leader gathering, and Dave and I had lunch together where we got acquainted, and I sought his wise counsel for myself and for our church. Over the next few years, I went through a very difficult season. Our family went through a number of health-related issues ranging from depression, the passing away of multiple family members, and then even family lead poisoning, which I didn't know was a thing. It was rough. At the same time, it seemed like there was a never-ending stream of hidden skeletons emerging from the church's closet. As a pastor, I found myself increasingly at odds with a long-standing unhealthy church culture, which was embodied in the existing church leadership. Over time, the tension and clear disagreements between myself and the other leaders of the church continued to grow. And though I believed that it could be worked out, I eventually found myself in a bind with no good way out. I reached the breaking point when, on returning from a much-needed vacation, I was blindsided by 2 of the church leaders who had unilaterally decided while I was gone that they would force me to resign. At a late-night leaders meeting, they made false accusations against me and my family and distorted and twisted things that I had said. I came home that night to my wife, and we cried and prayed, both completely shocked and broken by what we had experienced. Unfortunately, some churches shoot their wounded leaders. We were beaten down and done and felt utterly alone. But here's what happened. Very early the next morning after the meeting, I received a text from Dave Wheatus that said something like, "Hey, Paul, it's Dave. I'm visiting friends in Florida, but for some reason I woke up this morning thinking about you and praying for you, and I just wanted to check in and see how you were doing." Now, you have to understand, Dave and I had not communicated with each other in the entire previous year. Dave could not have known what we were experiencing. But God was faithful, and he knew that we needed help and encouragement at that very moment. God's timing is impeccable. I called Dave about 5 seconds later and said, "Dave, things are not okay. Do you know what happened last night?" And Dave said, "I have no idea." But it sounds like we should talk, and so we did. Over the next season, my wife and I personally met with Dave, and he also served as a mediator between myself and the other church leaders, giving much wise counsel and helping lead us in how to process and respond to this very unhealthy and unjust situation within the church. Dave also brought his legal expertise to bear in multiple situations and was instrumental in keeping me from just losing my mind. I wish I could say everything worked out and was great and we all lived happily ever after. That's not what happened. The church leadership forced me to resign. I simply had to walk away from the place my family and myself had poured our heart and soul into for 2 incredibly painful years. It was the most difficult season I've ever been through. During the last 5 years since all that went down, Dave and the other counselors at Serving Leaders have continued to counsel and shepherd me and my wife. And I can say without a doubt, I don't know where we would be spiritually, emotionally, and mentally if God hadn't inspired Dave to check in on me with that text message exactly when he did. It was genuinely miraculous. Jesus told us, "In this world you will have trouble. Take heart, I have overcome the world. The Lord is good. He continues to lead us through death in this world to resurrection. And he has been kind to me, and his kindness has often come through various means, one of the chief of which is Dave and Serving Leaders. I am grateful to God that my good shepherd cared for me and my family through Serving Leaders. Praise the Lord for his kindness to us through this organization. It means a lot to me. Thank you.